live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you? Then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a crypto, Ko-Fi, PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. And we are joined by Adam, Neil, Eli, Sensual Goat, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
Good morning.
Shambhala.
Good morning.
What does that mean? What's Shambhala?
It's a cavern in Antarctica, at least.
Oh, okay. Well, Shambhala to you too. Are you all doing any depressed souls here? You need a bit of copium after the Antarctic expedition? Who's in Discord?
I'm so depressed I had to listen to that Dune phone call 4 times.
You had to listen to Toon tuning into us 4 times. What, and running away when asked about measurements?
That's what the flat
It was
earthers
fun.
sound like, though. The flat earthers. Okay. Matter of fact, let me just make it clear. Watching Witsit stream or going into Flat Earth Awakenings and looking at the stream from there, or watching Jern stream, there's a difference in the level of excitement. And I'm going to tell you probably why that is. Even then, speculation, of course. It's because the flat earthers already knew what they knew before they got there. There's nothing special other than if they're not trying to look at the horizon and other landmarks to say, another black swan, which I wouldn't be doing because it's cold as hell. So it's like all this stuff I could have really did, in Sacramento or something. Like, why am I here? But Glovers are like, oh my God, amazing. It's like Christmas, 24-hour sun, it's a globe. Oh, So yeah, it'd have been cool to see no 24-hour sun, but I can understand you're bored, you're cold, there's kind of no reason you went, and people are gonna piss on you and tell you should be a Glober. This is a sucky experience. I hope you drink it with a nice warm glass of milk going down.
Ideally, they'd have understood what science is and decried it for its lack of validity and empiricism because it's not an experiment. Ideally, they'd have understood that the journey down there and all measurements, surveys, mapping, the flights, any boat trip, they're all flat. Now, if they'd have known that, obviously the trip would have been surplus to requirements and they could have saved themselves the embarrassment. Oh well. In terms of what happens here, it makes absolutely no difference to us whatsoever. Hence McToon coming and going, ha, you said you'd have to be killed. There'd be armed guards stopping you getting there. What about the measurements you made of a flat Earth? I've got a skedaddle. Got a son to watch.
Nathan, that's the frustrating part. You hear them, him and Witsit talking, saying, but it looks so flat when we're flying here. And as they're standing on the snow, they're looking out and they're saying, oh God, but look how flat it looks. I mean, are they really that clueless?
They don't have anything else to lean on. Here's a map. Actually a globe projection. That's how the world is. Oh, it looks really flat. Well, okay. We had that standard many years ago. Now we know how it's measured. Now we've got the back story of how the globe comes to fruition with those flat Earth measurements. So does it make any difference to us? No. Were we trying to claim we knew what the stars were? No. Were we putting them in little models above azimuthal equidistant projections? No. But there's quite a few people who made a few quid out of doing that, didn't they? Oh, what a shame they misled everybody. Everybody must think Dave Weiss is a complete charlatan at this point. What do you know? Yeah, well, I mean, I took several individuals, we won't name any names specifically, to one side and said, what are you doing? We know this doesn't work. You go, oh, I use it as a tool. A tool what? To show people how wrong you are? Because that's all that's going to happen as a consequence of this now, isn't it? I don't have that affliction. As Toon found out when I grinned at him and asked him, how's it measured? And he ran.
See, that's a good point. Like, someone being peeved off, right? Because they feel like you're hating on them. We tried to tell Dave Weiss, look, we like what you're doing with all of the interviews and stuff, but this you're at, bro. Like the AE stuff is, and now fast forward, that could be seen as hate, or it could be seen as a friend of the show who sent ballers. This is him, Dave Weiss, to us, FED, to win Bitcoin if they could prove that the Earth was a sphere. Okay, that's what he did. Nathan, as a friend, went to him and said, "Hey, this can't end well. That's a reification fallacy that you're leaning on, making money with." Here we are in 2024, almost the dawn of 2025, and those are the things that they're facing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
like they
matter
were
of-
drowned.
The thing
Like
is,
they're drowned and you're throwing them a life preserver and they're smacking it away.
yeah,
We're
most of
trying
these-
to help you.
At some stage, most of these people I would consider as being friends at some stage, Dave Weiss included. So yeah, it really, I've said it before and I'll say it now, it really hurts when it's the people on your own side that stab you in the back. Yeah? So in the case of Dave Weiss, I've attempted to take him through what science is, and he's told me how wonderful his big boat that he bought was. That's what he's done. Okay, fine. Why you decry me and sit by people who claim I'm a scammer because I describe what science is? The same people who are now leaving Dave Weiss in a position where he's got to apologise for his app. Oh, well, there you go. That's how it goes, isn't it? What do you know? It doesn't make any difference to us. And that could have been mitigated for long ago. But it hasn't been. We've been ignored, chastised, called scammers. That's what's actually happened. Now that they've been and gone from Antarctica, I wake up and go, oh no, what am I going to do? Stress. I've got to stream and talk about the Earth being measured flat, demonstrably, provably flat. No, I've got no concern. Anybody who comes here starts telling me, oh, there's a sun in Antarctica. Yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah, I saw that too. Should we talk about Earth measurements now? Because that's not the Earth. That light in the sky, in terms of how Earth is measured, it's flat. Let's see what you've got to suggest that your reification of an antipodal assumption when viewing a light proves we're on a ball with some measurements. Let's see how you get on. Yeah, I'll still win. As a flat earther, I'll still take this tone with anybody who comes before me and tells me otherwise. You can't do that if you're on the True Earth, Ethereum, azimuthal equidistant, basically the Globebusters, Dave Weiss, Jeranism, and Witsit crew. Yeah, the popular flat earthers, let's call them. The ones who are so very, very, very wrong and are now going to hold their head in shame. Me, I don't have to have that affliction. Yeah? I don't have to have my head in shame. Because we've been telling them the same thing for years, haven't we? Yeah? And what did they do to thank us for the information they rejected? Oh, they called us scammers, didn't they? Yeah? Well, what do you know?
Yes.
So
And
if you're
get their names correct. Molari and Scurvy. That's the crew over there.
Well, we're not scammers. We're the ones educating the audience with facts about things like science and measurements. And we actually present them with them. And the people who leave here with those arguments win and will continue to do so as flat earthers. Don't believe me? Oh, right, you think you won something with that sun observation, did you? Come and tell me all about it and see how you get on. You'll convert me back to the ball, won't you? Yeah? Well, maybe. Unless I've got something that can counter it, like bleeding measurements of Earth. You're never going to trump what we have. Ever. Ask
Well, that's why
Toon.
Toon ran.
Yeah, ask Toon. Did he trump me with his light? No, he didn't. Because he's measured Earth flat too, hasn't he, McToon? And when I asked him about that for the 100th time, not just a coin of phrase, no, not just me using clever words to sound like I've asked him over and over again when it's 3 or 4 times, I have literally asked Toon about his flat Earth measurements he utilised 100 times. He'll never have a response. Ever. What's he going to do? Tell me he didn't measure Earth flat? Yeah, he did. That's why he's still losing sleep. That's why he's so angry with me. That's why he feels the need to join my live stream when he's in Antarctica. It's not even enough for the Globers that are down there when it's happening. He still felt the need to come and tell me, didn't he? And did it make any difference? Or did I slam that shit to the floor with measurements that Toon himself made? Nothing changed for us. So, spread the word if you are one of the lucky few who made your way here having not been poisoned by the scum flat earthers who led you astray. Then share this show with others that might have also been told that we're scammers here. No, we're the ones winning with arguments that don't get crapped on by some dodgy pasta fraudster.
That was well said, Nathan.
Oh, thanks. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth? No, still dealt with in 2024. Was it McToon that sat with Jaren and told him about tangent points in respect to this discussion? Was it Toon? Toon attempted to educate Jaren in how to overcome a flat Earth argument. Am I incorrect about that? Or am I misremembering how Toon
No,
and
you're
Jaren
correct.
have interacted in the past?
You're correct.
These people are in cahoots with each other. Yeah? Jaren has sat before me and tried to overcome our winning, still in place, will never be overcome flat Earth arguments with the stuff that Toon told him. Yeah? Jaren's a shill. He's a globe Earth shill, there to deceive you. That's what his purpose here is. This isn't the first time he's made to look very, very stupid in the name of globe Earth, is it? This is a repeating pattern from these shills. The same shills who tell you we're the scammers. No, he's down in Antarctica with a demonstrable fraud. Somebody's got advertisements for lawyers to recoup the money he's, screwed people out of, offering investments that weren't suitable. Yeah, there's a whole team of lawyers dealing with Will Duffy, this fraudster. That's who Jaren's in cahoots with. And who's he overcoming the flat Earth arguments by way of? Oh, well, McToon. Oh, what a coincidence. They're down in Antarctica together. Oh, well, that's a coincidence. What's that? Jaren said on his own stream. Oh, my bad. The fraudster Will Duffy's stream. That we could call him a shill. Yeah, we do call you a shill. You are a shill, Jaren. That's why you're trying to overcome our winning arguments with stuff Toon's told you. And why you're down in Antarctica with the fraud. I mean, I don't know about Dave Weiss. Probably just a useful idiot. Saw some money to be made off the azimuthal equidistant projection from a load of gullible flat earthers who didn't know any better. We tried to help him. And he just saw the dollar signs, didn't he? Now he looks really stupid. Dave Weiss looks stupid. Dave Weiss looks like he's conned you. I don't know if Dave's smart enough to have attempted to con you in this. I just think he saw the dollar signs and started drooling. And then he got a few of them out of you lot, didn't he? All you guys with the apps in your pockets. Have you all still got that app? The one that makes you an idiot too? Is it something you're proud of, keeping it on your phone and iPad? Dave's app with his map that's wrong. And we was told. Oh yeah, they were all told. Not asked, not debated, we're told. Yep, but I don't know if I could ascribe Dave the title of scammer or fraudster, the kind of titles we've been ascribed when giving them the good arguments that still stand to this day. I don't know if I could do that about Dave Weiss. He's just outright wrong. Yeah? Selling you something that's incorrect. That's Dave. Yeah, he's all sold you down the river and he's now counting the coin on his boat. Isn't he? Maybe you could moan at him. Why did you have this sun, moon, and zodiac clock app that's completely wrong? Why did I give you money for this? You're out on your boat, Dave. Oh, well, it's so easy to con gullible flat earthers. It would have been much harder, as I found, to actually give them some winning arguments and still stand proud at the end of processes like these. I can do that, in spite of your and Jaren's and Bob's and Witsit's attempts to undermine us and peddle crap like ether. Oh, yeah, if that comes to the head, it probably will in 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. We'll be saying the same about that, won't we? So, like I say,
saying it all along.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, Neil. We've been saying this all along. Exactly.
The funny thing is, Nathan, he used that word again in Netflix with that interesting. He said the same freaking thing yesterday.
Very. Well, we know there's a crater, and it was very beautiful as we flew in. I'm just repeating the script that they all read, like the identical things that they all said, one after the next for Will. Got to hit these points, got to say how beautiful it is as we're flying in, got to summarise with there's a crater at the end of it. Got to concede we've seen a 24-hour sun when it hasn't happened yet. All very shilly. Nevertheless, I guess we'll analyse the footage, scrutinise that which is inconsequential to us who know it's flat. Not believe, no. Made no difference. Made no difference. I could cover it while it was occurring. Made no difference to me whatsoever. Still managed to shove McToon against the wall for a live audience at the end of the process. Right in the face of him telling me, you're standing there watching it. Oh, that's lovely. I'll concede to it. After listening back, it sounded like I conceded to lying. Absolutely not. I'll concede there's a 24-hour sun. What about the Earth measurements, though? The sun? Oh, okay, I'm a flat earther. Did you think I was a flat sunner? No, definitely not. Not an Ethereum, not a flat sunner.
I don't think it sounded like you conceded to a lie. I knew what you were talking about. It sounds like you conceded to a lie.
You're saying you're a liar. You said there wouldn't be a 24-hour sun. That's what he kept repeating, babbling through me, so he didn't have to listen to anything in rebuttal. But at the point that I say, okay, I'll concede to that, he's literally just said, you're a liar. So it sounds like I'm conceding to being a liar based on his premise that I've suggested there would be no 24-hour sun. In reality, everyone's tried to dig out me saying that, haven't they? And what did they come up with? The best they could do is me saying, oh, I'd like to go down there sometime. What, to check? Yeah, so I could make statements of fact based on what I've actually experienced. Yeah, that's the best I could come up with, me saying I'd like to go down there. According to Toon, I've been telling people that you'd be stopped by armed guards when you lie through your back teeth about things I haven't said and then get hammered based on Earth measurements. That's Toon, by the way. A liar. No way he's going to dig out a quote where I've said armed guards are going to get you.
We got a chat skank in the chat right now that's trying to push that issue. These idiots don't understand the difference between the sentence, you can't go to Antarctica, versus the sentence, you can't just go to Antarctica freely without approval on a whim and just do whatever you want. Like, hey, Globers, those are two different sentences, okay?
Who cares? It makes absolutely no difference to our current argumentation. It's like Brian said. They just want to hand wave 10 years of what we've done. Look, we did see it. There's a sun. Look, there's the sun. Yeah, that's right. That's the sun, yeah. Look, it's going around and around. Yeah, it is. We win. No, you don't. That observation is merely an observation of something the sun does. Your cause, your claimed cause hasn't been validated. It's just an antipodal assumption. We've been saying it for a year. You think that's changed because you went and saw something? No. False dichotomy affirming the consequent on both sides. Oh, is that somehow different rhetoric to before you went? It's exactly the same rhetoric. Shocking, isn't it? Shout out to Michael Kahn for the super chat. Oh, wow, my chat actually worked. Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's the same
I'll just read out the super chat. 1 second
well,
out.
however.
Just 1 sec, just 1 sec.
Go ahead.
Michael Khan, thank you for the super chat. 24-hour elevation angle flurfs have nothing to fear. Precisely. Well summarised, Michael. Go ahead. Thank you for the super chat, Michael.
Yeah, only the Globers have anything to fear because any discrepancies with their claims about the synergy of the sky and the ground is an Achilles heel to their model because they have such a thing. Flat Earth was always about the Earth, not about the sky, and flat earthers and globe earthers that didn't understand that now think they have something. At best, they have a binky. You know.
Well, they don't though because you
themselves
still
in
have
at night.
to talk about like I guess there are other people that are talking about shadows and positions of things and how much sunlight there is and how that's not really comporting with what you, at least what people say about the globe. I don't really know where people are going with that. It's like, don't run away or don't, you don't have to retreat. Because there's no 24-hour sun. I hope you guys know that. You can go, yeah, that's great. The Earth's measure flat.
Well, yes.
All they're going to do is say you're lying. And you're going to go, oh, I'm lying. Okay, well, want to trade citations?
That's the tactic, isn't it? The tactic is this thing is proof flat earthers are liars and deceivers and scumbags. That's basically what they're hoping for here.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah, that's the line that Toons immediately took. You're a liar. Oh, really? Why? Because I said that armed guards would stop you. No, I didn't say that. Oh, because I said it wouldn't happen. I didn't say that either. No, you didn't find any clips. Nobody achieved that before you went. You think it's going to suddenly magically come into existence now after the fact? Yeah, discrediting me with this isn't going to succeed when my line of argumentation has no bearing on it. Now, there's plenty of flat earthers out there who had a vested interest in lying about the azimuthal equidistant globe projection and telling you, the numpties who were deceived by said flat earthers, that it was a globe map. My bad. A flat earth model. It is, in fact, a globe map, because it's a projection of a globe that came from flat earth measurements in the first instance, as we've been pointing out. Now, when people go, well, how does it work then? I don't know. Well, you should. Should I? Why? Because I'm a cartographer? No, I know how the globe's created. You're going to tell me the globe explains it? Yeah, it does if I basically undermine the principles of its measurement in origin. That's to say, I bend the lines that we use to make the angles that were measured to form the celestial sphere. Because that's what you're projecting this globe in respect to. So you can have a flat plane in the middle of it and surface points that are pretending to be surface points between you and the celestial sphere. Well, I can't, by right, in conscious way or any cognition way, square that circle. I can't bend the lines that are used to measure to create this novel model. And from day one, I've admired what that, it's not a model, that mathematical description of the positional data that we get presented with, converted to a perspective view called the celestial sphere over a flat plane, projected to a globe, and then projected to maps. When I understand that process, which I do, I can only lean on the origin measurements. That's the basis of all of it. And they are flat. Now, when people say, but you don't have a working map to explain how this sun works, I didn't have one before they went. Didn't have one 10 years ago, and when I started looking into them, none of them worked. What was the conclusion I drew 10, 8, 5, 3 years ago? Yet, shockingly, there's a deception. They want you to believe you're on a globe. So for about the last 200 or 300 years, they've been pumping out these globe projections that are flat so they can be used usefully in practical terms, and telling you that their explanation for why the lights do what they do when we measure them flat with these paradigms, models, maps, call them what you like. Now, I understand that. Does that mean that suddenly I'm going to explain it? No. Does it mean I need to? No. I can only lean on how Earth is measured. Now, the globe, if people say, but it works better on it. Okay. It works better in a mathematical paradigm that's been invented by a man. We don't physically stand on spherical surfaces. There's nothing I can do about that for anybody who needs copium. For the globe. The flatties around us, this is inconsequential. I've said it already. But for you globers, I can't do anything about the facts. Your reification that explains this is based on flat Earth measurements. That's why Toon ran. What are you going to do? Tell me the angles that you're asking about aren't measured flat. They are.
Now they'll do their victory lap until you bring up measurements. Then they'll take off.
Yeah. Well, see that when you're doing a campaign like what McToon did, I just watched the video, by the way, because Bendy Space wanted to, co-parter. I mean, all it was basically him saying a bunch of things about Nathan that Nathan never really said at all. In fact, most of what he said was a characterization or a straw man that the Globers were presenting against flat earthers that McToon was making fun of, while just repeating over and over again that Nathan is a liar. Now, the majority of intellectually deficient people that watch that will think, oh, yeah, McToon proved Nathan's a liar, and they'll be happy. And why would McToon then stay to actually parse out the meat and potatoes? He made his accusation that he was a liar. The fan base that agrees to be predisposed to not like Nathan's going to agree with him. That's why calling up people a liar or committing bulverism against them is a very effective tactic. That's why people use it.
Yeah, in the face of being called a liar, which I can cope with, and as you say, the people who are going to believe a chanting fool saying, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, you said people would be shot if they went down there. Okay, go and find me. Get the clip of me saying it. No worries. Prove me a liar, and I'll still agree with you and go, okay. And that changes how Earth's measured? Oh, you managed to attack me and my credibility, one man. And that changes how Earth functions, does it? Yeah, I'll still be here pointing that out to you, and you'll still have to run at the end of it. In other words, let's take it as read, that Toon was 100% successful. He painted me as a liar. I'm not. Didn't offer any quotes. I asked him. He didn't. He just kept chanting, didn't he? Told me not to mute him when he wasn't muted. Very amusing. Nevertheless, what actually concluded that discussion was me asking him for measurements. In reality, pointing out for the 100th time, no exaggeration. Toon personally has had this pointed out to him 100 times. He measures Earth flat. That's where the conversation concluded, and will always conclude.
Yeah, it's just character assassination. But hey, you could fix some people like Jaron.
Do it. I don't care. Makes no difference. I've had 10 years of people calling me a liar and telling me I'm a child abuser. Think I care? Water off a duck's back. Completely impermeable to it. Why? Because I now know it's not about me. In terms of who it's about them and their pain relief. That's what it's really about. Toon, it clicked last night. Actually, thanks, Toon. I've got to thank him. Because it suddenly clicked. Like, this isn't enough for him. I said it live. This isn't going to satisfy the itch, is it? For Toon, he had to have more. Didn't tell him it was a globe. It didn't confirm it for him. I know that now. The fact that I've been given it by God instantly. Thank you, God. You gave that me as a little extra bargainy treat, didn't you? For all the hard work. It was hard work yesterday. Took a lot of effort. I'm not going to lie. I was physically exhausted at the end of it. But I got a little gem, didn't I, as a thank you from God. Toon coming in saying, it's not good enough. I need Nathan to be proven to be scum. Oh, really? So just proving to yourself, based on your reification antipodal assumptions, that you're on a ball, that wasn't enough for you? Shocking. Now I know. Yeah, definitely ain't enough, is it? This isn't going to stop them from being anti-flat earthers. Now, it might wipe out a lot of their competition that weren't particularly good competition anyway. So the numpties that might have sat in front of them and been easily defeated up until now, they're the numpties that just believed it was flat, and they're the ones they always wanted to discuss things with. So who are they left with? Oh, it's been diluted down. It's been boiled down, hasn't it? You've got a nice, fine concentrate of us to deal with when people find out Earth's flat, unless the process starts again, which is to say 10 years ago, they started pumping in feast and nonsense, ice walls, circling suns, above equidistant globe projections. Yeah, maybe they just start the process again so they can build up a numpty fan base of idiot regurgitators of the feast and nonsense, otherwise known as Flat Earth, to stack up against people like Toon and offer him pain relief. But in the meantime, till that little pool of numpties builds back up, because I'm sure the purge will now begin, what are you left with? Us. We're not going anywhere, Toon. You weren't successful in telling me I must go. Yeah, you got to share your pain with me as well. What's on your mind as I live in your head rent-free? What did I get to here? You must go now. I'm not going anywhere. And based on the financial support I got from yesterday's live stream, it seems people absolutely want me to continue. Yeah? Maybe I'll even be able to pay the rent a bit more effectively each month. Who knows? Let's hope so. Because it's absolutely destroying Toon, and Toon's representative of a multitude of flat earthers. It's not just Toon. That's how they are. When we say share your pain, there it is for everyone to see. You all got to see it nice and raw and itchy, didn't you? But on the other hand, as AI points out, there's going to be people who hear his pain, go, you're a liar, go away now, you must. And go, oh yeah, Nathan must go away now because he's a liar. Well, good for you. Yeah, I don't care about you. I don't care about the people who realise it's flat to a certain extent either. I have to kind of remain neutral, which is a shame. It's the same with my friendship base on the show. But that's what the show is. Got to remain neutral.
Yeah, that was pain relief yesterday. I knew that right away when he came in.
Why does he need pain relief? He's seemingly won, hasn't he? No. No. So while the people like Dave Weiss recoil in horror at what they'll have to do and how they'll have to explain their numptiness to all their people who they took money from, me, I'm laughing at Toon and explaining to my audience why he's still in pain. Why is Nathan still in Mucktoon and many others head rent-free? Well, this is why. We know it's flat and we can prove it, and nothing you do will ever change it. No amount of sun observations is going to alter what we demonstrate on a daily basis. You think your sun observations done anything more than purge the numpties that we were fighting against anyway? Good! We've spent a month trying to get rid of numpty idiots that declare they've got ether proof because light doesn't travel, unless it travels. Yeah, we've got liars amongst us and you're purging them for us. Thank you, Globies, that went to Antarctica. Yeah? Oh, you've done a great service for us, the real flat earthers, and get rid of all the numpties that believe it's flat with crap evidence like that map. Well done.
Well done.
Hello, everyone. Mic check. I'm a little late to the party. Was there a 24-hour sun or no?
We don't know yet. We haven't been presented the actual evidence. We've been told that there is from first-hand accounts.
Ah.
I was told that because I'd suggested, which I haven't, that armed guards would stop people, I need to leave the internet. The Toon thinks that the standards he applies to himself, that is to say, he said if it didn't happen, he'd delete his channel. He now thinks that by inference that can be passed on to me. No, what I'll do is ask you about those flat earth measurements you made there, Toon. And I'll keep counting them off. The only reason Toon's on a moderately sized channel is because the channel belonged to Conspiracy Cats. Now, I asked him in excess of 100 times how he could have gas pressure without a container. What a coincidence that the curse of being asked over 100 times something you can't answer passed along with the channel. Because now the new channel operator's been asked 100 times about his flat earth angle measurements and his 10k challenge. 100 times. So it seems that channel's cursed. The operator's always going to be in a very sticky situation where they can't answer a flat earther. And they're asked over 100 times with no response. So yeah, if you thought you were going to get some pain relief out of Toon as a numpty, anti-flat earther, globe believer, or indeed flatty, then you're sadly mistaken.
Sounds like your reference frames are ruined 2.0.
For who?
For McToon.
He's not giving us a nice juicy quote like Dan. He's not stupid. He's not that stupid. I mean, he's not Simon Dan level stupid, where you're going to decry the very reference frames Coriolis requires to prove, allegedly, that you're spinning on a globe Earth. I mean, decrying your own smegging reference frames is properly stupid. That's Simon Dan stupid. I don't know if Toon's demonstrated. If you asked QE, he would say, absolutely. I've got hours of how demonstrably stupid McToon is, and I'm aware of that. But, you know, to me, the bottom of the pile of stupid, and it is a very deep, 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 deep pile is Simon Dan decrying the very reference frames needed to prove that you've got drift called Coriolis. That's proper stupid, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Quite.
Hopefully McToon will return, or in rage at me laughing at him in the face of the flat earth measurements he made. Maybe he'll slip up like Dan did, because I got him to say those words in a response video to me. It started off as a tweet and then we got it as a quote, because of Dan feeling a bit butthurt and needing to tell his audience that actually the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm a Simon Dan fan. No, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to lie. Like Dan lying to his audience about debating when he's debated me on Twitter, and then lying about me being a Simon Dan fan. That's what you do if you're a glurf, you're a liar. Like Toon lying about things I haven't said. That's what you do when you're a glurf and no pain relief is ever going to be achieved in the face of people like us pointing out how Earth is flat. So welcome, please share the show, 131 people watching. If you were looking for a new place to vent your flat Earth frustrations that, you know, you didn't think it mattered about because the beliefs were perfectly good enough until yesterday, then maybe there's other flat earthers that you know that also had a belief and would be best served here with measurements and demonstrable evidence, you know, declarations about how science proves things with evidentiary standards that are empirical, as opposed to bullshit and made up stuff about ether and maps that are globe projections and things like that that other flatties have given you. Cast those away, delete those stupid apps that you paid for, and just know that you can be duped easily again, even after realising Earth's not a sphere. And know that
Wait,
we
did they
don't
get a
tell...
refund?
Go on.
Did they get a refund for that?
Don't do that. I mean, I wouldn't want Dave Weiss to lose his boat that he shoved in my face with me telling him what science was and wasn't, and him telling me, shut up, I've got a boat. With all the money the numpties gave me for the map that I sold them. Yeah, I wouldn't want him to lose that. So let's not talk about Dave Weiss and refunds, people might ask, as they delete that app en masse.
Hey, you want to hear a crazy story about that, Nathan? So
Feel free.
way back when you first started it, right? Like when you first created that app, I had downloaded it because I was like showing people, like, oh, check this out, it's pretty cool. And it was free back then. You didn't have to pay for it. And then after I don't know how long, then he was like, it's gonna be like 99 cents or $1.99 or whatever. I paid for it once because it was supposed to cover the whole year, right? I transferred phones and then I had to like transfer the apps. And when I went to sign in, it was like, oh, you don't have an account. I even messaged him like, hey, what happened? Like, he's like, no, you should be able to just like sign in and it should be good. You pay for the year. Well, it's been years now, and luckily, I never like re-signed up because then I heard that like a lot of people had this like he had like a security breach apparently, and a lot of people got their information stolen. So I was like, ironically, that helped me.
Wow.
Like not being able to log in.
Oh, well, worth
That's no
getting that map that
coincidence.
was wrong then, that we've been saying is wrong for 10 years.
Sorry, what was that?
So it's well worth all those people who downloaded it. Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app with that map as the front cover and the app thumbnail and, you know, the thing that's on the front cover of it and the thing that it's basically being sold on. Good job you got it.
Yeah.
They're just catching up now, Nathan. We've been telling them for years that it's wrong, but they're just catching up now. They had to go to Antarctica.
Oh, right. In order for them to catch up, we had to be labelled as scammers, did we? When we pointed out that science proves things and people hijack that empirical method to claim proof, in quotes, of all sorts of nonsense that isn't proven. Yeah, that got us called scammers. When we pointed out the map, the same thing. Doesn't seem to matter what we do here. We'll still be standing at the end in the face of both globers, anti-flat earthers, and flat earthers who call us scammers. Yeah, and when they're red-faced, they'll be there telling everyone, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's not really important. It doesn't matter.
You know what's
Like a guy
interesting,
getting
Nathan?
shot. You're
Why
trying
would
to help him out.
McToon
Go ahead.
Why would McToon try to call people liars when he's on an expedition, right, with 3 people, including himself, who've lied against flat earthers, Danny Faulkner and Duffy? Duffy even apologized on a video where he lied to a flat earther and then lied in the apology video.
Yep.
Why would any of them care about whether people are lying or not? Because according to Duffy, lying and deceiving isn't even inherently immoral. So what's wrong with it?
Yeah. There you go. Exactly. But like I say, there's a good chance that the surface level regurgitators will remove themselves from the subject when they realise that their weak-ass arguments aren't worth anything anymore. It'll only take one person to go,
desperation.
well, how does flat Earth work? Well, if you imagine the sun's going around like on this sun, moon, and zodiac clock app, look how it goes round. Wasn't that debunked by a pastor in Antarctica? I'm just going to give up this flat Earth thing. It's not like I'm really successful with it. Let's move on with my life with the globe being under my feet. Yeah, that's what the numpties will all do. Good. We didn't want you here anyway.
Absolute desperation and projection.
Thank you.
It looks so dejected, though.
Who did?
Jared and Witsit, from the videos I saw, they look so defeated, like their countenance has fallen. It's over. We got to go back to the drawing board.
Well, we don't. They might have to. And I think that could potentially be the whole purpose of their being here. That is to say, they're here to gather up a whole bunch of people and then just make them all despondent, just like Tiger Dan did 10 years ago. There's going to be a whole bunch of people who have no idea who Tiger Dan was. Oh, what do you know? Tiger Dan did all the same things, rounded up a whole bunch of people, told them to invest their trust in the AE map that he was building, and then showed how it failed the flight. Therefore, Earth's a globe. And then he buggered off never to be seen again. Oh, well, maybe Jaren will bugger off to be never seen again, having gone, oh no, what do we do now? Leave a load of despondent ex-globe believers / ex-flat Earth believers to just bugger off.
Well, he was talking to people in his chat. They were trying to encourage him and tell him what the next step is. And he was like, I don't know how. Maybe you could figure it out, but I'm standing here. It's a 24-hour sun.
Well, there's 142 people watching this show, so presumably some of you have made your way from anti-flat earthism or globism or flat earth belief to us, because we've got increased numbers, so very appreciative of all the 142 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already. 2 clicks, and you can put it on your favourite social media platform like Bebo or MySpace, or whatever it is you use. So click that share button, whatever you're currently using will appear, and you'll know how to do it from there. It's like 2 clicks. Click, click, click. Please share the show. The other thing discussed with Jaren was elevation angles. And again, that might be where I'm actually now remembering what he discussed with Toon. It was a decriance of the elevation angle argument about 18 months ago. There's been multiple examples of where I've approached Jaren because he doesn't understand an argument, tried to explain it to him personally, and I've ended up being called a scammer or being cut loose from a community or whatever detrimental effect would be obviously reasonable for someone trying to educate a fellow flat earther in a subject that would leave them in a position where they wouldn't be on the Antarctic ice wall. No. Yeah, that's what I did see of Jaren, him walking around all morose looking at the Antarctic marathon, saying, oh, I'll turn this into Antarctic wall. Yeah, really? Why? Just struggling to let it go, right? Yeah, he wouldn't need to do any of that. But obviously the people who were there putting their hand out trying to save him from now drowning were the people who are also labelled as scammers and charlatans. No, it turns out you're the scammer and charlatan, as you've said, Jaren, right? Yeah, everyone who listened to him telling, oh, these people are scumbags, they're scamming you. Well, why would Jaren be front of a camera looking like seriously morose? Going, well, if you call me a shill, you call me a shill. Yeah, okay, you're a shill. But hopefully the people who saw that happen have found their way to us, and you'll now know Earth's measured flat. And anybody who questions you on the nature of Earth, you'll be able to put that to them in a concise way and get on with your day without any guilt, without any concern that you're going to be made to look like a stupid idiot. Like you feel like it's justified when they laugh at you and tell you that you're obviously stupid for thinking and believing Earth's flat. No, you'll just shove some measurement in front of them of Earth. And then go, there you go. That's how I know it's flat. How does your ball get measured? And then when they offer you something for their ball belief, they'll be giving you a flat Earth measurement and you'll be pointing that out to them. That's if you've come here.
Well, they missed the opportunity. They could have been mocking them the whole flight in.
Yeah. That's why that's the reality. It's social. They're in there with a load of numpties that are saying, we know it's going to be a 24-hour sun, you're idiots, and fighting with them. From what I gleamed, you got Witsit and McToon in an argy-bargy before they've even left. So they're going to be miserable. And then when they're proven to be wrong, their model, their map, their oh-so-holy globe projection AE map fails miserably on its arse. Suddenly it's, oh no, it's been miserable down here. You call me a shill if you want. Oh my God. If you'd have only listened. Yeah, then you'd be cheery like me. I made about £100 yesterday from the stream. I'm elated because it makes all the difference when you're super poor. Because quite frequently your compadres on your own side tell your own audience to bugger off and allude to you being a scammer. Kind of similar stuff that McToon was trying to do yesterday. I mean, I still took my victory, didn't I? Yeah, and everyone who knew it was a flat earth cheered me on, as I did. No one was cheering Jaron yesterday. No one was cheering Dave. I mean, people were figuring out whether or not they want refunds from him, it sounds like. That's all I keep hearing when Dave comes up. Should I ask him for a refund? Why? He might lose his boat! The one he shoved in my face last time I tried to educate him.
Well, whoever has the most boats is correct, right?
Until they're not, and then I don't matter. Don't worry. I mean, we'll figure this out. Maybe you'll figure it out. Maybe you'll tell me from the comments, right, Jaron? Maybe your audience will educate your dumbass. No, people come to me as an audience member expecting what I put and title the video as education. And they absolutely get it from me and the people around me. Not from you. I mean, they'll just get deceived. Maybe conned out of $5. Yeah? Call me a scammer. What do you know? It turns out it was you all along, wasn't it, Jaron? You and Witsit and Dave and all of you scammers. As the globe earth has proved, you morose guy looking down that camera with your hoodie tied all up so no one can see your shameful face. Me, I'd have been running around naked. Go, we measured it flat on the way here. I'd have been laughing at them.
That's what they could have did. They had that opportunity to bosh. Say, you know, we're flying. Did you hear about pitch data?
In the interest of balance, though, I will say something else, right? When you're on the losing side, and I said this yesterday on the live stream I did yesterday, right? It's exhausting. I've been a rep. I've done that. Not that journey, but the kind of journey they've done, where you're here, there, and everywhere on all sorts of different horrible flights, sat in a fart can in the sky. It was miserable and exhausting. So you get there, and then you've got to stay up for 24 hours, which I hope somebody actually did. Toon said he did, and then said that he went in shifts. Again, it seemed like he lied. Did you stay up for 24 hours? Yes. Okay. Who else stayed up for 24 hours? Well, we took it in shifts. Sounds like you didn't stay up for 24 hours, you liar. But there we go. I mean, that's a different story. I'm not going to be called a conspiratard. I'll air that on a stream where it's happening, because it's happening. Now we'll just look at the footage, and we'll take it from there. So far, we've got first-hand testimony. That trumps Shortman, by the way. There's multiple first-hand testimonies. I've been involved in enough actual legal cases to know the standards if it came to a point of law. Their word versus your word, Shortman. Sorry, Robert. But yes, I appreciate your first-hand testimony. But if somebody was going to look on the balance of probability at this point, multiple first-hand testimonies that say we saw it for 24 hours trumps Robert Shortman's first-hand testimony. By the way, that's not me saying that you'd be stopped at gunpoint. That's me having had information in regards to this subject matter 10 years ago and assessing it based on probability against the testimony I got from Toon. Because what was it I asked him? Did you observe it for 24 hours? Did you stay awake? Half of the answer might have been a lie. We'll find out if he actually went to sleep or not. He said he didn't, but then said he went in shifts. There was many of them. Seemed very Weasley, like a liar.
Oh, he walked it back.
Technically a logical
that's
problem
a lie?
with that.
Go on, AI.
Let's say, for instance, that there has been testimony in the past that people who were present at certain times of year didn't see the 24-hour sun. Does that mean that they're wrong because people in the present today see the 24-hour sun? No, unless you assume retroactive continuity. So in other words, if I validate that there's a car in my garage in the present and somebody else says 10 days ago the car wasn't in the garage, those aren't conflicting testimonies. If your testimony is of what you saw that day, and Robert Shortman is correct, then that would be very deleterious to the globe model. So they would have you ignore what he saw and base it all about what they're seeing in the present. For example, it may be the case that the cycle of the sun, according to what the globers think it's going to do, has a greater periodicity than they thought it would, right? Which would be an error in their model. So it's not simply the case that if Robert Shortman said, you know what, I didn't see any 24-hour sun, that's not necessarily contradicted by somebody in the present saying, I see a 24-hour sun today. Because rest assured, they can't go back to when Robert Shortman was there and see whether he did or did not see the sun.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love your turn of phrase as well. Retroactive. What was the other bit that you said? That was beautiful.
Retroactive continuity.
Retroactive continuity, like silk. Yes, absolutely correct. I was talking in absolute terms. So yes, if in the present I say there is not, that absolute statement can be undone if, notwithstanding retroactive continuity, they observed it in the present. So yeah, I completely agree with you. It doesn't alter him. I'm saying that in terms of, I'm putting it in a scenario where there is literally in the present Robert Shortman on the stand today, in my example. Therefore, in terms of absolutes, if we say there is not this occurrence, then you can undermine it with the balance of probability based on multiple first-hand testimonies of that occurrence, in this case, 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So therefore, balance of probability kicks in. However, as has been pointed out by AI, and I completely agree, it does not alter Robert Shortman's first-hand testimony. Okay? So you're saying that these things move in cycles, there's something that's altered from then till now. That may be the case. It may be that Robert was mistaken. I don't know. He's not here to ask. When I did ask him, he didn't give me an absolute answer. He was slightly weaselly too. What do I mean by weaselly? I mean, when people aren't 100% certain. So, for example, people sleep normally in a 24-hour period. So, given that people sleep in a 24-hour period, and even if you're down there and you happen to have stayed up for 24 hours, you may not be observing that particular instance happen or not happen. Now, in the case of something not happening, generally speaking, people don't say, check out this thing that's not happening. You just observe what's around you, and in the case of it gets a bit darker and the sun goes away, that's just what's happening in the moment for Robert. He's not writing it down. There are certain journal entries he did actually make, but he's not explicitly detailing it in the kind of scrutiny that we've had over the last 24 hours or 48 hours, as the case may be. That's not occurring for him. So when push comes to shove and he's questioned about it, he's having to deliver his testimony with a little bit of caveat because he might be wrong. Well, I did actually go to sleep at points most of the time during the cycles. Isn't what he said, but that's the reality. So he has to caveat it to a certain degree. So if you go back and listen, I'm pushing him to give me absolutes in the interview, as is Antonio Subrats. We want him to just say, there's no 24-hour sun there. I sat there and watched it. I sat and watched it go down. That's all we want him to say. But he's like, well, I think I'd have noticed if it went behind me. That's how he phrased it. That's slightly weaselly when you actually assess it. But all I want to know is, what did you see? In any event, 2020, what are we in? 2024 still. Yes, we are. Makes no difference. Doesn't change the argumentation. It doesn't change the structure that people, men, came up with to explain some of these anomalies with lights. Yeah, we know. We also know we practically put them to functional use in terms of ground positions where you can actually be on the ground. Then the lights become useful, practically applicable to Earth and its surface. The bit we're interested in when it comes to the lights. How you can plot and navigate the ground with them. It's a flat Earth debate. All right, we just see the sun above the ground for 24 hours in this place. Yeah, we do in the north too. And? Well, that means that if I assume that the one north is antipodal from the other south, whoa. You've just given me a description of a direction that relies upon being a plane of reference. And tell me it's in the south, and then suggest that south actually something it isn't. When I make my assumptions about antipodal positioning. No, I'm just going to decry that and say, no, that's not a satisfactory explanation from you. Again, like has been the case for about, 6-7 years. It doesn't then mean that you'll get to flip the burden and demand I explain it. I don't care. Was that not clear for the last 5 years in this regard? You care about it because you get to assume antipodal positioning. Me, I point that out. Then you demand that I must care or explain. I don't. I won't. I'm done.
Right. So this event was billed as the definitive alleged by title experiment, right? And supposedly, some Globers are claiming already enough evidence has been given that this definitively, allegedly proves the Earth is a globe. Then if that's the case, why do we have someone in the chat of this very server we're speaking in, when asked for proof of the globe, they didn't present the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. They started talking about all the same old arguments. Little pictures with curve at the edge of the horizon, all this other stuff. It's like, wait a minute, dude. I just asked you, hey, do you have proof? This is what I asked him, Nathan. Do you have proof of the 24-hour sun from 5 years ago? And he sent me pictures of Sierra del Uni. I'm like, dude, that's not what I asked for. I thought this 24-hour sun was the coup de grace, the cherry on top. Why are you talking about anything else? Why are you giving me arguments that are 10 years old when the 24-hour sun is supposed to have put a stake through the heart of flat Earth? Maybe your position isn't as solid as you thought it was.
Yes, and we're the lucky few, AI. We can do that. You can do that. Everyone here will do that and always will and has for the last however many years done exactly that. Basically ask for your evidence and see how it stacks up as actual evidence. Does it prove it or not? That's what evidence is. Oh, it isn't. It wasn't evidence to begin with then. Same applies here. Well, again, you've got so many people out there that will be purged from this, that will have their arguments thwarted when somebody comes along and says there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, because they won't stack it up as a claim. They won't put it into a logical consistency. They'll just say that. Doesn't the 24-hour, if the people who are uncertain on the globe side, this is now, not anti-flatties, but globe believers, doesn't the flat Earth fail because there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, full stop, says globe believer. No. You tell me how that proves we're on a globe, if you're suggesting that it does, because I'm not making any claims about it as a flat earther. Oh, you absolutely are. You have this map. Look, I've even got a flat earth app. It's called the Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app. It's by a guy called Dave Weiss. It's right there on the thumbnail. I paid $5 for it. You telling me I need to get my money back? Excuse me. Well,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, shouldn't there be a live stream that they've had set up, like, since they landed? Do they not have that?
Well, no, they'd done various vlogs because they were limited in terms of their upload capabilities. They've got Starlink, so I've never used Starlink per se, but my folks did use a similar system that was in existence long before Starlink because they lived in the middle of nowhere. They had no water, let alone internet, you know what I mean? Nevertheless, so I'm familiar with the process, and yeah, it's going to have its limitations. So I would imagine that the majority of the lion's share of bandwidth is going to be taken up by Duffy himself, and he's going to give his high-quality live streams, but everyone else will get to utilise that in a limited capacity at certain points, I would have imagined. So whether or not it was just left running so that you could just broadcast a 24-hour live stream like I did from G+ when we were tracking the sun on flat Earth live is potentially unreasonable to suggest that Starlink could do that. Although, as I say, I don't actually know the capabilities. I'm just reasonably tech-minded and have some tiny experience with a similar system. So, yeah, I don't think it's fair to say even today that it would be a reasonable ask to say, look, you guys went to Antarctica. Why didn't one of you just get a power source, plug it into a phone, and stream via Google Plus for 24 hours holding the camera? Maybe in 10 years that would be a reasonable ask, but today I don't think so. Getting really good upload, quality because they've, sat for an hour or managed to stream of a certain bit rate, that for me is good enough to say that, okay, I'm happy to say they've been down there, and unless there's a absolutely enormous conspiracy that I definitely wouldn't even want to postulate, then you've got to really stretch to deny what they've claimed so far. Now, the things that they've suggested so far are still not hearsay, but first-hand testimony as opposed to evidence in a video format. But still, I'm satisfied. If people aren't, because I've heard that too. People say that they were in Australia and things. You're like, what? Where are you getting this from? Cope. I thought there'd be a lot
Just
more
a
of it.
point of note, though.
Well, did you know that, sorry, real quick, I was looking up temperatures yesterday because, I mean, they got their shirts off. And I'm like, I mean, white people are crazy, but shirts off in Antarctica, damn, son.
No, that's
You know,
normal.
you got the
Normal. Perfectly normal. Robert Shortman's testimony, again, having spent 18 months down there, he was like, nah, it was perfectly reasonable for you to go out in a T-shirt. I mean, he talked about one day where he got it wrong because he was a plumber and controlling the heating of all the different sites that were doing all the research down there. And he was like, I like it quite warm. So he turned up the heat, and in one instance, there was dormant bugs that had been living in the crates that all the stuff was stored on. And because the temperature went up a bit too much, they came out of hibernation and suddenly all these insects there flying around because he's heated it up too much. But he said, yeah, he said more often, not often, but on more than one occasion, he'd been out and he'd be in a T-shirt in a similar sort of setting that they were in. From what I understand, it was like 10 degrees centigrade there. So, I mean, my late brother-in-law used to say that he could drive his convertible car if it was 10C or above. He could put the top down and it would be comfortable to drive an open-top car in 10C, just to give you an idea. That was like the minimum, though. Yeah. That would be as cold as he would open the top on. So you think, well, okay, it doesn't matter where you are, 10C is 10C. Now, there's a perception of cold because you're standing presumably on stuff that's white and cold. So you're going to go, all right, well, I should really have a jumper on. But in reality, there's been autumn days that I've gone out and got it wrong because it looked lovely. And then you go out and it's about 10C and you're like, well, I'm a bit chilly in my T-shirt. But you survive. 150 people watching. Please share the show. 151.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm not trying to insinuate that, are they really in Antarctica? I just found out something new, that sometimes it's -16 and sometimes it's just, I don't know, 13 degrees. And I was like, oh, wow. In Antarctica, didn't know that it could be, -20 and then like across the street, that's 20 degrees. Oh, okay. I mean, that's what I find interesting.
Yeah, that's like in the desert too. So, for example, I was in a desert and it was 135 degrees during the day, and then I had to be absolutely bundled up at night.
Especially Afghanistan, yeah.
It depends on the topography as well. You've got to take into account that if you're in like a valley or something, then it's all well and good hiking through the valley with the sun on your back. You're going to swelter, but then suddenly when it gets cold, all that cold air sort of falls into the valley because it's got nowhere else to go. Yeah. You're sat in that little valley and you're suddenly finding that all of the cold air from above you is piling on you overnight.
No, the sun is hot and the moon. The sun is hot and the moon is an air conditioner.
One more rebuttal. One final rebuttal to this point, because you guys, you made excellent points. I'm just trying to elucidate. It isn't a nighttime, daytime thing. At the same time, right now, there are different points in Antarctica that, have that vast of a difference in temperature at the same time.
And?
So maybe, what you said about valleys and you having the cold of the night come hover over you. I understand all that. I just didn't know it could be that much colder at the same time in generally the same location.
I don't know about generally in the same location, but yeah, there's different temperatures in different places. That's fine. Not in the same place, but you're making it like, well, they're basically the same. No. But anyway, moving on. Talking about the weather now. Come on, Eli, you can do better than that. Well, very little cope. I thought there'd be a whole bunch of flat earthers that needed cope.
Yeah. Just trying to keep the
Good. I mean, we got
copium alive.
We got Globers in the chat giving 7 to 8 year old arguments when, supposedly the sun thing's supposed to have proved it. We're talking about, they don't even have the ability to 24-hour live stream the sun. They've supposedly done that in the past, which they didn't. All the videos that they produced of the alleged 24-hour sun in the past were cut, or some of them even falsified. So, I mean, God forbid if somebody didn't trust that there was or wasn't a 24-hour sun, especially when there's conflicting testimony from different people. I mean, that I don't know what the Globers are thinking, but this is kind of a nothing burger. I mean, you guys all may need to cope, but, you know, the people who knew what's what from the beginning aren't really coping that hard.
Yeah, it's because up until now, if you get into a flat Earth rhetoric and then on your journey you're onto the azimuthal equidistant projection and ice walls and domes and all that kind of garbage we call the feast of nonsense, there's then this necessity to explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica because it doesn't comport with your version of what a flat Earth is. So suddenly it stops about Earth being flat and starts being about explanations of the cosmology with respect to the ground. You're like, okay, now that's fine if you've got a practical use for doing so. But if it is only to affirm that Earth's flat, it's like, surely you'd look at the ground and whether or not it's flat, if you're going to say it's flat. But that's not what you're suddenly doing in the Feast of Nonsense rhetoric that they take you along when you first get here. So then you're into, well, I need to now have an answer for why the sun does something. Like, well, you've already stepped off the path then, haven't you? And so that continues to the point where, well, right, we've got you so far off the real path of flat Earth now that everything you believe in can be summed up in a discussion about your whole worldview and then described as a lie. The same lie that Toon tried to ascribe to me. What are you talking about? I don't have some consequential part of my argument wrapped around Antarctica. I always understood it was the case that the globe Earth belief, if you want to call it that, prior to the Antarctic expedition yesterday, or 48 hours ago, however long it is now, lose track. But prior to that, that was always the rhetoric. So did that change my position? I knew that was the rhetoric. I just didn't spend my time going, look, they've got edits in the footage. Now, a lot of flat earthers were led to need to do that when they ascribed their worth to the azimuthal equidistant projection. Me, I didn't, so I didn't see any need to defend anything about Antarctica. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm like, Antarctic ice wall, prove it. Oh, Nathan, why'd you have to say that? The sun would melt out a puddle. I don't have to say anything. Why are you telling it me, flat earther? The amount of friends you lose over this. Like, well, I want to believe that the sun melted out as a puddle. Well, you can believe that, but I don't want to believe anything now. Just prove that's the case if you're going to claim it. And don't moan at me when I challenge you because you can't prove it. And then show me a map that's a globe projection and say, well, look, if you imagine the world like this, why? Don't want to bloody imagineer anything. Stupid flat earthers. Well, I can say that with confidence. Am I worried that I'm going to lose my audience? Nah. They've already buggered off because they've already been poisoned against me anyway for different reasons. So who cares? I can call them stupid. None of them are here. If you're here, you've already figured out Earth's flat and you already know, because you're not finding me because you've been advertised by YouTube. Let's be honest. And you're certainly not here because a fellow flat earther's going to be telling you I'm a good channel. But if you have found your way here, it's because my audience members shared the show with you. So please share the show if you haven't done so already. That's the only reason I've got 150 people watching. People who want to know Earth's flat.
Hey, listen to this. They don't understand. Well, you brought up maps, so the internet is made up of fiber optic cables below the sea and what are mapped and documented on a globe so we can repair them when needed. He really thinks that they're all mapped out on a globe. Oh, what a fool. Where'd you get them measurements from?
Neil, you know what the worst part is? If they send out a repair ship, according to that logic, if they get repaired, therefore the Earth is a globe.
That's basically what he's saying.
So if internet cables, then globe, yeah, fine. So we'll have to send out a ship to repair them. And what's the ship going to navigate its way to that position with? Flat Earth information, flat Earth maps, flat Earth navigation systems. Okay, so we're definitely only going to be referencing Earth as a flat plane when we navigate to get to this position on what you think is a globe. Definitely not. Because all of the measurements, same with Antarctica, shocking. Maybe there's people in the 150 people of the audience that want to know what about this Antarctica thing then? Oh, well, we already proved that they'd be utilising a flat plane when they got there. Brian approached Will Duffy personally and said, you could do this for a lot cheaper if you just want to prove whether or not it's flat. Get the pitch data. Don't fly down to Antarctica, just give us any pitch data. Now, I said wrong. I was incorrect. he should get the Antarctic data when traveling to there. Brian was like, no, he just needs any pitch data. And then lo and behold, we managed to find a source of pitch data, the NTSB. And it demonstrated beyond all certitude that the journey to Antarctica was over a flat plane. All of the measurements with respect to the journey, the actual practical purposes of getting there, were flat. The measurements, that is, Earth measurements, were flat for that process. What's that? They saw a light in the sky, and that's a light in the sky. But the practical navigation to the location they made this observation was flat. We can prove it with pitch data. Go ahead, Central.
Also, he'll need a plane of reference to measure the depth of the cable.
Yeah. Are you going to measure it below sea level? Over the next couple of days, we should really do housekeeping. There's going to be new people that come.
Everything with measurements and height. I seen a video yesterday. We're talking about how high is that mountain? Can we get a height on that mountain? And he even went over to Toon. Hey, Toon, like a little puppy dog. You know the height of that mountain? Jeez, do you not realize what you're saying? It drives me crazy.
Did he give him a linear distance measurement?
You need a flat earth for that too.
And yeah, Nathan, you're right on point. There is going to be new people. We've already seen it over the past 24 hours. We've had a huge influx into politics and religion. Miggy did a stream last night on X Spaces where Indio basically is asking the Globers to come and bring their syllogism with proved premises that the 24-hour sun proves or disproves anything. And it ended up being quite juicy. It runs from about midnight to 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, EST. Flatside was supposed to attend tonight, but he ended up having to go on the road. But yeah, if it ever's out there, you guys can always show up. Miggy will have you come on the panel. And there's a whole new avenue of Globers there. I know last weekend and the week before that, 2 weekends ago, we got thousands of views on one of the episodes. So they're going to be coming talking about the Flat Earth specifically in regards to TFE, because that's who we're linking to. And we're putting all our sub-directions in there to other channels that are talking about it.
Perfect.
Lots of big channels have chimed in on it.
Perfect. Right, this is where last time this came up, it caused division, in our own ranks, because it was using Witsit as an example. I got it in the neck. You certainly got it in the neck. In any event, right, in this instance, can one of my YouTube moderators drop a link to the 24/7 Flat Earth? Correct. Did I say that right? 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I've got the title right. Please can one of my moderators drop a link to that Discord server so that people can reference or find their way to that server for that event. It may or may not get put on YouTube by someone. I'm sure it probably will. You guys stream 24 hours, don't you?
Yeah, we streamed it on YouTube last night as well.
Perfect. So hopefully
we had tons of comments of Globers coming in, guys we haven't heard from for years coming in about the TFE.
You've got one of my moderators.
They all take shifts, Nathan. The English go on in the afternoon, then the Americans, and the Australians. We rotate 3 shifts.
I love it. Awesome. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, cool. Yeah, so
if you're awake or available during that time and you want to be involved in the conversation, either to ask questions or to make points or to watch Globers cope and cry, come on over.
But yes, this is absolutely... But for your timing, this would be a lot better point last time, AI. This is the moment, you're right? This is the opportunity that was trying to be described with Tim Poole, is it, last time? But in this instance, this is that opportunity. This is where you make all of the trying to sound smart and talking about Japanese or whatever and opportunity and crisis being the same thing. Well, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that in this regard, which is to say that where there's lots of people that might be despondent as a result of an inconsequential observation of the sun, point them in the direction of good information. And there's a push from within this particular community to cross-pollinate, because all of us, what we call the good guys, we also fall out internally, if you're new here, but the point is that we want to cross-pollinate all of our own platforms. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been suggesting that people go to our opponents' platforms and tell them I sent you as a way of doing exactly that. But in this particular time, we've got an opportunity internally to cross-pollinate and share all of the good, if you will, platforms amongst ourselves. So as I've now got a more broad audience than I typically have, 165 people watching is, about 50-60% more than I'd normally have. I normally have 100, 110 people. There's obviously new people here. Great. Not just with the YouTube hat on. Obviously, as a YouTuber, I want more people. But from a flat Earth perspective, with my flat Earth hat on, this is a great opportunity. You can meander your way to people that are telling you in no uncertain terms why Earth is flat, so that you don't have to retain a belief. And there's plenty of people debating it. Now, they're the people who are confronted with the anti-flat earthers and having to overcome the many years of learned arguments with respect to their globe positions. Now, for the last 10 years in the public's eye, they've got the numpties of flat Earth that tell them that we're on an azimuthal equidistant projection, and imagine we've got a dome, and imagine the sun does this over it, and buy my app. And that kind of crap will hopefully fizzle out. But there has to be a push to keep the decent information in the mind's eye of the audience that remains. So hopefully, certainly by my numbers today and yesterday, that looks like it's been of benefit to me. Happy days. On the other hand, I could have called that just based on numbers completely wrong. And there's loads of Globers in the audience going, I want to come along and tell Nathan how wrong he was. Oh, well, I mean, if that is the case, I might be wrong about this too. Feel free. There's a link below this video. You can join the Discord server and you can tell me just how much globe copium you got out of that 24-hour Antarctic observation. You can tell me and tell me how wrong, and we'll debate the subject. It's what we're here for. The perceived debate that exists. And for those of you in the know,
Absolutely.
Perceived because it's measured flat. There's no getting around it. Go ahead.
And like when you go to any of these platforms, if you leave comments and you leave them on comments that have hashtags, or you leave them on comments that are segued to other videos, that creates threading where people can track down a thread and get to certain information. So, for example, this is just an example. We had Andrew Wilson. You may know him. He's a debater. He's a Christian apologist, but he also goes on to that show, the Whatever podcast, to talk about social issues. So he commented on the TFE hashtags, and because of that, there's a reverse segue going with messages from our publications that we've been proffering on that platform that will eventually make their way to people who are of his subscriber base. The way sometimes that X works, if one of the people go to a live, it actually notifies everyone else who's segued to them, unless they've turned it off, that person's being presently engaged with a Flat Earth live specifically about the final experiment. Now, if that's the case and then people start being interested and they're like, okay, Flat Earth, I've never really thought about it before. I've never really done good content, which, by the way, what Andrew Wilson admitted, he admitted, I've never really studied the arguments. Now, keep in mind, Andrew Wilson is a logician. That's his primary purpose for apologetics, for his views. So he said he never studied the argument, but according to his idea, I've never seen a model, quote unquote, of a flat Earth that could explain a 24-hour sun. So obviously this guy might research it and he might come, well, these models are straw man, whatever. And then people might be interested and say, okay, I'm going to trace down these hashtag links and I'm going to find my way to a community that could actually answer these questions. And that is why when you saturate the community with cross-pollinated links, even if it's to content that you don't necessarily agree with, it will ultimately bring people back to the content that you actually want to be proffered. And the more of those links you have, the more opportunities for that to happen you have.
Perfect. Quick shout out to Sofar, who says, it would be hilarious if Antarctica only made it as a single note in your new book, considering all of the emphasis the Glurfs are placing on it. Well, we are editing the book. There's no reason why it shouldn't make it into the book. Maybe it will just get one remark or one sentence, as you suggest. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat so far. Now, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Fortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a new member, and all that good stuff. Big thank you to those of you who shared, because there's obviously new members and new people coming to these live streams. So big shout out to all of you. Smash the share button once again, as that is what's going to expand our horizons, metaphorically speaking. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. Another massive thank you to Discord and G Plus for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.